Welcome to Dr. Anima Upadhyay's YouTube channel. Today's video is a new series. I can call it the bridge between the various branches of science and technology. These videos will be very helpful for the students of science, engineering, and technology, and also for the beginners, those who want to learn chemistry. Because chemistry is the only thing which links between living and non-living, and science and technology. So before I start, I will request all of you to please subscribe my channel. Don't forget to like and share the video also. We are all surrounded by air, soil, water. Everything is made up of matter. The entire universe is made up of matter. So what is matter? Matter can be explained as a substance which has certain mass and occupies some space because it has volume. So as I said, we are surrounded by air, soil, water. We see so many trees, birds, fish. Everything is matter. They may have shape, like tree, it has certain shape. A glass, it has certain shape. But water, it does not have any shape. It takes the shape of the container. Gas does not have any shape. But still, whether they have shape or they are shapeless, they have certain mass and they occupy some space, so they have certain volume. Everything is made up of matter, and matter is made up of elements. But before we come to the elements, let us first know in what states the matter exists. So, primarily we can say that there are three states of matter: solid, liquid, and gaseous states. Solid states, like all the metals, charcoal, tree, they are all solid state. Water, oil, they are in the liquid state. And air, carbon dioxide, argon, they are in the gaseous state. But if you are writing a competitive exam, or you are going to be into scientific field or in the technology, you must know there are 7 states of matter. Besides these 3 states, solid, liquid, and gaseous state, there are plasma states and condensates. Ionic plasma and quark-gluon plasma. Similarly, Bose-Einstein condensate and fermionic condensate. So these are the 7 states of matter. Now, as I said, that matter is made up of elements. So what are elements? Elements are the pure substances which are formed of identical atoms, where atoms have identical number of protons in their nuclei. Carbon, hydrogen, gold, copper, silver, nitrogen, they are all the examples of elements. Elements can be monoatomic, diatomic, or polyatomic. There are 118 elements, and they are grouped, they are tabulated in a periodic table. In a periodic table, there are groups from top to bottom. There are 18 groups and 7 periods. We'll talk about the periodic table in some other video. Now, when these elements they undergo chemical reaction, they form new substances, and these substances are called compounds. So, what are compounds? Compounds can be explained as the substances which are formed when the elements undergo chemical reaction and they combine in fixed proportion by weight. These substances are called compounds, and when the compounds are formed, the elements loses their identity. The properties of compound is entirely different from the elements. For example, carbon and oxygen they combine to form carbon dioxide. So the properties of carbon dioxide is nowhere similar to carbon and oxygen. Similarly, water is formed by chemical reaction of hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen peroxide, which is also formed by combining hydrogen and oxygen, but it is a different compound from water. So every compound is formed by the combining of elements in fixed proportion by weight. And this is the reason the compounds have different properties and they are not similar to the elements with which they are formed. The compounds can be classified into ionic compounds and molecular compounds. Ionic compounds are formed by the formation of ionic bonds between the elements. And when the water is added to the ionic compounds, they dissociate into respective ions. Like sodium chloride, it is formed by sodium and chloride ions. And there are electrostatic forces of attraction between the two ions. So when water is added, this separates into cations and anions. Sodium ions as cations positively charged and chloride ions as anions negatively charged. But the molecular compounds may dissolve or may not dissolve. If they are polar molecular compounds, they will dissolve in water because water is also polar. So like dissolves like. The polar molecular compounds will form a hydrogen bond with water and will dissolve in it. But non-polar molecular compound like oil, it will not dissolve in water. We'll talk about the polarity in other video. So the compounds may have ionic bonds, metallic bonds, covalent bonds or coordinate valent bonds. When the compounds are formed, once they are formed, it is very difficult to break down the compounds into their respective elements. So we have to take certain chemical measures to separate them into their respective elements. They cannot be separated by simple physical means. When two or more compounds they are mixed in any proportion by weight, they give rise to mixture. And the mixture can be separated physically. And in a mixture, the compounds retain their identity. It's not like compound where the elements loses their identity. For example, sea water is a mixture. Air containing humidity, water vapor is a mixture. And here we can separate the compounds which are present in the mixture by simple physical means, simple physical process like decantation, evaporation, distillation, condensation. For example, the salt from the sea water can be separated by boiling the water away from the salt, and the residue which is collected by boiling of the water is the salt which is remaining afterwards. Another example I can suggest: take rice, add some soil to it, and iron nails. Now, if I ask you to separate the three things, you bring a magnet, remove the nails, pour water in the rice, and dissolve the soil and remove it. So, rice will be remaining. So, it is very easy to separate the compounds that are present in the mixture by simple physical means. I hope I have made you understand matter and its states, elements, compounds, and mixture. Be thorough with it. Watch this video number of times. If you are not able to understand, leave a comment in the comment box. Keep watching my videos. Take care.